Hello everyone, welcome to Niamh's Journey of Dreams, if I even pronounced that right. This is the third area of the watercolor painting style that we've been to, which is done by all three of them, presumably done by the same person. Pretty sure anyways. And we'll be reading another story this time. Our character this time around is Niamh, the daughter of Manaman Mac Lear. Goes on a quest to the Sacred Spring. And so we'll begin to follow the path. Already the area looks beautiful, and we have, looks like a stag. And a lot of crystal balls on the ground, it looks like. That got a little bit of... There we go. So she drops a small pouch that had her dreams in it. And they spilled it onto the path and spinning backward into the soft curve of the early morning mist. Whoopsie. So I guess those are what the little crystal-like balls on the ground were. I actually like the mist effect over the water quite a bit. And this place is actually fairly lagless, which I like as well. Even when advanced on, as you can see with all the shadow effects, though it seems the wind light just changed it to where there's not much shadows, but okay. I believe the beginning said that there would be a lot of wind light changes, so that makes sense. And here's number 3. She came up on the shore and found footprints, and there was a man weeping at a rock. And he tells the tragic tale that everything that he touches turns to gold, including his daughter. And it doesn't seem that there's anything he can actually do. Though she ends up finding one of her dreams out on an incoming wave, and goes and catches it. I'm mostly just summarizing the text on the pages. If you'd like to click, or if you can read it all this as you can, as I'm staring at it. But for the most part, when I have these story time things, I usually just paraphrase what the story is for them. And here's the king and his daughter. This is obviously based on the old tale of a king that, I believe he gets a wish, and I forget what the wish exactly was, but essentially everything he touches turns to gold, and nothing he can do can really change that back. So perhaps this will be a story about different tales that we'll see. I guess we'll find out very quickly. There's a nice little waterfall off in the distance there. I see birds going by. As she continues on, she thinks she sees Bran, a mischievous boy. And she remembers the time they were playing on a riverbank when they saw a horse, a blue-white horse that was shining, and Bran went out to touch it, and the horse caught his hand and dragged him into the water, never to be seen again. So that's rather unfortunate. I feel that this story is probably based on something else that I'm not familiar with, though the story of the horse in the water, I believe, is a tale... I want to say it's a tale that you hear in Mexico of some sort, along those lines. There's a tale of, like, a horse-headed woman that is in some water or something. And if she catches you, she'll take you into the water as well. Could be wrong on that, but I want to say that's what I'm most familiar with when I hear about that. So let's continue on to the next. Niamh is not quite ready for more memories, and she was wondering if she was still dreaming or under a deep enchantment. And eventually she sees the tree next to us, a raven perched on it and holding one of her dreams in its beak. So this time, not too dangerous of a thing going on. And we can see the bird with the dream in its beak already to the side here, in the mist, along with the tree. Very, very interesting. And we're coming up to a meadow, it looks like here, with a lot of flowers blooming. Niamh saw a dragon and a tree intertwined. The dragon wants a toll, and the only path is through him. The path forward is like an underground river flowing toward a shiny lagoon. And in the dragon's eye is, in fact, what appears to be a dream. And then a thieving raven swoops by and grabs the dream. Plucks it right out of his eye, apparently. With the blind tree dragon began shaking for terrible rage, but Niamh had already entered the portal, so let's take a look at this dragon. Ah, yes, that's definitely a dragon. Never seen one quite like that, though I believe it was a tree dragon, so... Looks like we're continuing to follow the stream here, though it looks like we're coming up to an island. Niamh comes up along the path and sees a butterfly flutter by on a sunbeam and alighted on a strange flower, sipping on a shining dewdrop. She finds out that the flower has a dream, and snatching it from there, the butterfly flows to her lips and gives her a sting, it looks like, before fluttering off in a casual breeze. Niamh becomes lightheaded and walks off towards the shoreline. And it felt like the butterfly giving back a tiny sip of her dream. But which dream? And towards the shoreline she saw some children standing sadly by the lagoon. So let's go ahead and head down there. And of course you can see the butterfly and the flower right there. Apparently the children talk about their mother, who would weep inconsolably and would never leave the garden. Apparently their father had hidden her only cloak, and one day when he was away, one of the little brothers found it buried beneath the woodpile, pine cape of white feathers, gave it to their mother, her tears stopped. She kissed them tenderly and walked through the gate to the dark lagoon. And apparently they are now the ones that weep as she doesn't come back. At least that's what I'm assuming that's hinting at. Alright. We get up on this boat here and set course, but then we end up seeing Bran's pale face shining in the depths. Suddenly, young Seal broke the surface, and he disappeared into the darkness. Niamh thought she was floating on a swell of tears. So she seems to be having images of Bran appearing. There's the seal. Though I don't see Bran in the water, so another bird floating by. Niamh finally reached the dark island. She found the dragon's eye, thieved by the clever raven. When she picked it up, the moon and stars fled. The stream was powerful. She sat on a mound of wind-eyed daisies and watched Ain's red sun rise. And apparently someone is coming by, running along the embankment. She saw that it was Bran. Apparently Bran has come to visit her, and she exclaims that she didn't lose him. But unfortunately Bran seems to give the indication that he's not actually here, or this is just a dream. And it seems that he knew everything that had been going on, of her journey, of her lost dreams. And he replies, "We Totha dwell in dreams, Niamh, and before I must go I will tell you of those that are to come. So this is my own dream within a dream," she thought. You can see the stream still going on along this island as well. Looks like we've reached a portal. She finally understood. Young Ceakay on the crossing to the island had been Bran. Bran was the thief, was the raven thief. He was the butterfly. Bran watched over her and led her to here. Though he was still no longer visible in any incarnation, she knew he remained inside the root of her own being, which was ever-changing. She gave herself to the wind, to the water that flowed down from the spring, down to the sea. She gave herself over to the fierce tree guardians and to the dreams of swans and bird father kings. The journey had grown as she had grown. She was leaving childhood behind. And we're actually back towards the island, but it seems we have to go along this path. Okay. She went further inland, her heart grew stronger. She saw shadow spirits trying to quench the dreams of light that plowed down from the dancing mane of Niamh's mare, who climbed the eastern sky. She knew the sacred spring was close, and she still held one of her dreams in her hand. Ooh, This is an interesting looking person. Niamh realized she was traveling the lesser-known sphere of men, so she stayed hidden by the stream. As she approached a small bridge, she saw an old woman on the bank washing clothes. She realized she was in the presence of no ordinary mortal. Flourishing a cape of black raven feathers, the woman greeted Niamh by name. She exclaims that she is far from home, and that what she seeks is near, and by your father's wish I will give you a gift of perception. But she requires the dream in the hand to be able to give it to her. But she promises that it will be returned to her, and that she must be trusted. Curious. In the distance she heard pounding of hooves, and saw a man come riding. The dark mane of his hair swept over the wind, and there was something about him that seemed curiously familiar. The Morrigan, flung the dream upward into the air and over the road in a great arc. It hovered against the sun for a few moments and shattered into rainbow shards. Each rang out a different tone, but Niamh could not utter the corresponding words. Time had slowed down. As the pieces converged again, it fell to the ground, and she knew that the writer had seen it too. He looked joyful in recognition. But he had gone a transformation. The long black curls that flowed like a river on the wind were now silver. His back was bent, and his hands trembled. He took a step and stumbled against his steed. So I guess the woman was the Morrigan. I'm familiar with the name Morrigan, but I'm not exactly sure what her theme is. A droning murmur in her ears as time adjusted itself. But she was already somewhere between waking and dreaming. The Morrigan's voice reassured her to rest. The gift of sight is never easy. It is heavy as an ocean of your tears and as deep. And so Niamh rested. Another wind light change. Ooh, this one actually looks pretty nice with the purple. As Niamh continued her journey, she came across a strange priest. The priest noticed the dream that she had, and his eyes widened. He waved a ritual gesture with his own hand, and Niamh held on to the dream more tightly. He spoke of someone else, a traveler who had something similar. His face looked to me like a shining tear of the Blessed Virgin, he said gravely. But there was a glowing firefly somehow trapped inside it. He looked uneased. It was something this man held very dear, though where he found it I know not, nor did I think I would ever see another like it. This seems very dreamlike right now. Let me see if I can just, Now I'm turned away in sadness, not wanting to hear more. She was worried that her own journey might never be completed. So she gathered the courage to turn around and called out what became of the dream, but the priest was already out of sight and didn't reply. She wondered and worried if the last dream was now lost forever. Rain began to fall. Each drop of water sounded like an echo of a hallway of her memories. Apparitions that looked like mirrors appeared on either side of the misted path, dissolving as she passed by. She thought she saw the reflections of her dream floating in them. And she wondered what the writer, the old man, and her dreams had in common. The answer felt very close, but not yet ready to reveal itself. And it's actually draining. That's nice. A red stag had joined her and led the way through a grove where light billowed like a veil between the trees. He would go no further. Stopping short of an opening in the thicket, he bowed his head in blessing. Niamh looked into his knowing eyes, and in the mere depth she saw brand recreating in the forest. She went through the portal, into a swirling cloud that slowly materialized into a narrow rocky clearing. And she realized that she had finally arrived at her destination. She sat down overwhelmed and held the patch containing her dreams. Letting her thoughts drift with the mists that were moving over the wildflowers and bluebells, she was soon lulled into deep slumber. And I believe we actually saw this stag towards the beginning. Ah, it's a teleport. Okay. Quite a few cards along here. The day turned to night. 1,000 torches were lit in procession across the sky, with the Lady Moon soon following. Out of the trees, Niamh saw two figures approaching carrying torches of their own. One looked like the priest, and the other had flowing white hair, and though his step was heavy, a fierce light blazed in his eyes. He was the rider, when she had met them more again. Neither of them seemed aware of her presence, and Niamh wondered if she was perhaps still dreaming. The white-haired one solemnly dropped a glowing object into the spring. It glowed dimmer as it sank through the starlit earth's surface. The light in his own eyes dimmed. Tears trickled down his cheeks and fell into the pool. She watched him bow his head as the younger man poured water. The old man seemed weary, and Niamh saw the morgue of death alighting nearby as a crow. She felt grief and confusion. Loneliness piled on her. She wondered if this was the end of her journey, but the quest was not complete. The rider was somehow bound to her own destiny. He had sacrificed something very precious. She realized it was her own vision. She didn't know how he had come by it, but she knew there was something yet to reveal. She needed to retrieve this last and most powerful dream. So it seems like Niamh's going to go into the water, try and get the dream back from the spring. Niamh began to bathe her radiant limbs into the spring. She dove into the depths for the last dream. Everything seemed to turn in slow motion as she descended into the shadows. I need to fly here because I'm rolling back. She found the dream. She tried to pick it up and tried to ascend, but heaviness began to pull at her. She realized that her dreams, all of her dreams in her satchel, was weighing her down. They had become so heavy and she was drowning because of them. She opened the pouch and let them flow out. She thought she saw the salmon swallowing them. Opening her fist, she let the last dream go. As she began to lose consciousness, a hand reached through the water. And obviously this is her in the water, and there's a salmon nearby. That's a really big salmon, though. When she opened her eyes, there was somebody there. She saw a young man with coal-black curls gazing down at her. He had a quiver of arrows and a bow by his side. In an instant everything came together. She knew everything. He was the rider on the road, and it was he who in sorrow had thrown the dream away. Something that had been swiftly woven as a dew-threaded spiderweb had become unraveled, and she knew he had been looking for her. Had she also been looking for him? I am Ozian. Is this what you're looking for? In his palm lay the dream. What had been thrown away had now been recovered. And in the dream she saw herself and Ozian beside the spring, and could see the gate at the edge of the clearing. She hesitated and gently closed his hand. No longer, she replied. It is now yours. But he says, perhaps neither of us may lay claim to it, my lady. Perhaps at least claim to us. Her perception shifted, and she was inside the dream, looking out. In that center of stillness, she watched a powerful gust of wind stir through the surrounding trees. She saw the Morkan fade into the shadows. The red stag bowed its crowned head one last time before withdrawing into the darkness. This was the end. The quest, her memories, and her dreams melted away into the morning mist, and flowed backward to the place she began. She remembered the familiar path back home. I am none of the two others, she heard herself say. And if you have the courage to come with me, my father will heavily welcome you. She held out her hand, and he took it willingly, and together they walked toward the open gate, and so began a dream of their own. That was a interesting story. I have to admit that I'm not familiar with the background of it, which I believe there's probably some to it. And here's the N Art Gallery. But in any case, I thought it was really good. I always like the watercolor style of these Sims. And I hope you guys will come and take a look at it yourself. Some rather nice paintings here too. All from the cards. But in any case, I will see you guys in the next video. See you then.